You ever meet someone who, from the moment you meet them, you can tell that there is something in the background that is just not right? You ever meet someone that you don't know all that well, but during the first meeting they divulge way too much personal information to you, a perfect stranger? Well, this is the case of Shayna Hubers and Ryan Carter Poston. What happened here? Well, Shayna Hubers killed Ryan Poston. But unlike all the other videos you may have seen out there, I'm going to give you a different look at their background and who they are. So, first off, this event took place October 12th, 2012. Ryan Carter Poston was age 29 at the time. His occupation was he was a lawyer practicing family law in the Highland Heights area of Kentucky. He, by all counts, from his friends and family, he was in a very down to earth individual. He enjoyed camping and getting out into the outdoors. He wasn't one of these I need to go to the Marriott hotel kind of people. But he did enjoy the finer things in life. He enjoyed going to concerts, theater, museums. He had a well-rounded group of friends. Growing up, he traveled quite a bit with his family internationally, attending school in Manila, at the international school in Manila when he was younger, then Geneva, Switzerland, with as his parents moved again, and then landing back in the United States. He finished college, and then he went on to Indiana State University. After Indiana State University, he went on to law school at Northern Kentucky University, Salmon Chase Law School out there at the university. And he didn't graduate top of his class, but he graduated near the top of his class, passed the bar exam the very first time. After getting his law degree, he took his first job practicing law in Cincinnati, Ohio. He enjoyed the area, but wanted to move back to the area that he enjoyed, where he had more outdoor activities that and seasons that he liked. So he moved back to the Kentucky area to practice law and to start his professional career. While he was in Cincinnati and then relocating to the area, he had lost track of in touch with some of his closer friends who were going on to college and had moved around the United States, and internationally for to start their careers. He met up through Facebook. A cousin initially introduced him to Shayna, S-H-A-Y-N-A, Shayna Hubers, through Facebook. Now the two of them kind of kept it, a platonic relationship at first, and they eventually they decided to go out on a date. Now I'm going to give you his account of their first date, and then I will tell you her account of the first date. All right, and this is where he should have learned right then and there that there was something seriously wrong with this lady. All right, Now, keep in mind, she's going to the University of Kentucky and working on her master's degree in psychology, in early psychology. She plans to eventually become a school guidance counselor. They go out on a date. It's a mutual date. It's not just the two of them. It is 4 people altogether. And they go and they meet at a bar. They're going to have drinks. They meet there at 9 o'clock at night. It was a prearranged time and place with the 4 friends. They go, they have a couple of drinks. They decide that they want to go to another place. And so 3 of the 4 go to a second bar, which is not too far away. And at that time, they all end the night after having drinks at the second place. Ryan took a cab there to the first bar and took a cab away from the second bar. He went home. Cheyenne rode with her friend who had originally left and was there with two other ladies and then Ryan. She then took a cab home as well to her place. That is how the events took place on their very first date. All right, if you can call it a date. Her version of it is she shows up at the first bar. He is physically aggressive with her and grabbed her wrist tightly and said, "You're going to this other bar with me," and then led her out of the place to the next bar. But somehow her cell phone died on the way there. There was no phone in the actual bar that she went to, no payphone, no business line. She was unable to call or reach out to the other people in the bar because nobody else was anywhere near them. And I guess the place was vacant, right? And she said she was scared for her life, and because he was aggressive. And at one point he even put his hand up her skirt and grabbed her thigh tightly and said, "You know what I can do?" And she was scared. So she finally found somebody else in the bar when she excused herself to go to the bathroom, and she called a cab and took and left him there. That was her version of the first date. First date. If you have a first date with somebody like that, why would you ever want to go back for a second? Right? So, all right. They date on and off again. Every time he tries to break off the relationship and go on his own way, she starts to cry. He feels bad. And he says, "Look, fine, I just don't want the drama, maybe we can work this out." And this goes on for about a year. And finally he says, "All right, I've had enough of this. I'm sick and tired of her drama. I'm sick and tired of her immaturity. And I'm sick and tired of the fact every time I turn around, she's blowing up my cell phone." At one point during their relationship, towards the end here, the last 2 months before this took place, she was sending him no less than 114 messages a day to his cell phone and about 14 to 16 posts and live videos off of Facebook. Yeah, every single day. He said at one point to his friend and his father that he was turning off his cell phone and he could not use it anymore because she would not leave him alone. The writing was on the wall, what was going to happen.
100 to 1. Prosecutors claim that Shayna Hubers sent 100 text messages to Ryan Poston for every one he sent her.
Texts and social media took center stage at the murder retrial.
He didn't want to admit to it, and nor did anybody else want to admit to where this was going. It was becoming a Glenn Close Fatal Attraction episode, and he didn't make the connection. So, what happened this tragic night, in October? Well, Ryan had finally decided that he was going to end the relationship for good. He told several people that he had met another lady that he was interested in dating. She just happens to be, former Miss Ohio. But he was going to, he had a date arranged for later on that night. He was going to meet her for drinks at 9:30. And Shayna was coming over to his home earlier in the evening, and he was going to break off the relationship for good and return a couple personal items that she had at his home. So she shows up. He tells her, "This is we're done. Now, please, here's your items. Have a good life." She's not having anything of it. She refuses to leave one, but we never get to find out from his side what happened the rest of it. We do know what happened next. When she refused to leave, while his back was turned and he was next to the kitchen area of the home, she shot him twice in the back, once in the lower back, once in the upper back. He fell to the ground on his side. She then walked over, put one in his face right about here, through his nose and out his eye. That was the third shot. The fourth one she put through his chest, through the upper back this way. The fifth went into his gut and abdomen, and so did the sixth. She would have shot him 8 times if she had 8 bullets. The handgun she had only had 6. Shot him 6 times. Then she calmly set the gun down on the table, dining room table, and walked over and sat down, picked up the home phone, and called 911 and reported that she had just killed her boyfriend. Now, as tragic and as weird and news at 11 this is, it gets a lot weirder from here. Okay, so while she's waiting for the police to show up because she just killed her boyfriend and he's dead by the kitchen dining room area, she gets on the Facebook and starts to mock him. He's dead. She starts to mock him right then and there. She doesn't even wait for his body to go cold. She starts mocking him. Police come in. They secure the scene. They make sure he's definitely dead. He's not coming back. The ambulance is en route. They'll check him as well. And she calmly just stands up. They put the handcuffs on her. They take her away. They put her in the police car. And then detectives come. They take her and they go to the police department. And that is where everything starts to get even weirder. If that's even a way to describe that, I don't think it is. There's on a level of 1 to 10. This is like a 44 on the scale of weird of the events that that are going to be taking place. Don't leave. You're going to want to hear this. Okay, so I had to actually write this stuff down because there's 28 different things that took place. So she goes she's at the jail, police department. She's in interrogation room number 3. In the following room, in room number 2, on closed camera, circuit camera, and it has audio as well. The chief of police is there, and he's watching the proceedings. Okay, all of this was caught on camera. It's recorded. So the first thing she gets there, the first thing they did was they Mirandized her, and they asked her if she wanted a lawyer. She said no. So the first thing on the list is she already mocked him on Facebook. Mocked him. She just killed him and set the gun down, called 911, and mocked him on Facebook immediately. These are some of them. Of these, I will tell you, they're exact quotes, and I'll tell you when they're quotes. This is the first quote. She tells the police during an interrogation, "He says he's only with me because he feels awful when I cry. My love for him has turned to hate." So, and then she kind of just stops and tails off and doesn't look up. She's sitting there across the table, and it's like she's searching for words at that point. Next thing she says is she wanted to know, if I go to jail, do they have showers or do I have to be really dirty? That's her next question she asked the police. That's kind of out there. Next question. If I go to jail for this, can I keep my cell phone and my cell phone plan? Okay. No, but thanks for asking, I guess. Next question, she says, if I go to jail for this, can I still finish my papers that are due on Monday? I have 2 term papers that are due. I hope that I can turn those in. No, lady, you just killed your boyfriend. I don't think you're going to make it to school on Monday. Some of the other things, next thing she does, she says, you know, Ryan was always vain. He broke his nose in a car accident and always wanted to get plastic surgery to fix it. So I shot him in the face. I fixed that for him. That's a quote. Next thing she does, after saying that, she stands up from her chair and she starts to do a dance. She starts to dance, doing a twirl, snap at her fingers, and singing Amazing Grace to herself. Yeah. Oh, it doesn't stop there. She then starts chanting over and over again, I killed him, I killed him. Like she's singing a happy little kid song that she killed him. Then she starts snapping her fingers and tapping her foot while she's standing up and dancing the whole time, reciting a rap song that she had just heard on the way there in the squad car, because she asked for the radio to be turned on. She then stood there, smiling from grin ear to ear, like she, like somebody had just given her a brand new puppy. She was so happy. So happy. Not a worry in the sky, at all. She says to the police, I killed him. He's gone. And then continued to confess to the entire crime all over again. As if, you know what? I'm just going to tell you the story about how it all happened. It gets weirder from there. Still, she sits back down and she starts to go through the entire story, and in mid-sentence she stops and she said, oh, I think I forgot to tell you an important detail. Ryan was mean to me. The officer inquires, he was mean to you? Yeah, Ryan was mean to me, and that's why I did it. And the officer says, he was mean to you, so that's why you shot him? She then says, no. This is a quote. No, he was more than mean to me. He was cruel. He was actually very abusive. And the officer says, did he hit you? How was he abusive? And she goes, yeah, he hit me. End quote. Clearly, on the video, you can see she is searching for a motive, a reason for why she did what she did. And none of it's ever going to work. And so, she ain't done there. Oh no, God knows. So, they, again, she's memorandized, and they offered an attorney to her, but she just wouldn't shut her mouth. This entire interrogation is 3 hours and 40 minutes. 2 hours of that is just her rambling. They're not asking her questions. She's just rambling and confessing to a bunch of stuff. Everything from stalking him to changing his passwords on social media to messaging him over 70, 80 times a day when the real numbers are well into the hundreds. All kinds of stuff. Making sure that she was put onto his utility bills, so if he ever left, she could shut off his power. Yeah, there was some really dark stuff, and she just randomly just started talking and wouldn't shut up. And the cops just were like, oh my God, did she really just say that? Did she really just tell us all of this? The chief of police is sitting in the next room with his hands on his face. He had to be doing one of those Macaulay Culkin, like, unbelieving. Can't believe what the hell he just heard. No one goes into to an interrogation and just confesses and is joyful about it. Yeah, she was. So they send her off to the county lockup for the night, and before she'll be arraigned on Monday morning. She gets to the county lockup. The very first thing she does is she confesses to a jailer at the jail as she's waiting to be processed. Then she starts to make up her defense and tell the jailer about it. She doesn't stop there. Once she gets to her actual cell in her pod, housing it, she tells her cellmate and starts asking questions. What should she say in court to make them believe that she was a battered girlfriend, and that Ryan ruled over her with an iron fist? Again, she's digging for anything, help on this, and she tells that her cellmate, I'm smarter than Einstein. I can get away with this. She brags about it to her cellmate, and then starts to look for anybody who will tell her about battered woman syndrome, so she can know that information. She thinks she's going to go to court on Monday, and they're just going to go, you know what? We believe you. Go home. Yeah. So, first trial. First trial was pretty much a slam dunk. They walked in. The state presented their case. Pretty much everything that she said, it checked out to be true. Yeah, she really was stalking him. She was trying to take over his life. He didn't want her in his life anymore. And they presented it to the jury. She did not take the stand in the first trial. Instead, just putting up character witnesses who really did not help her at all. The jury deliberated for about 5 hours and came back with a unanimous verdict, guilty on all counts. And she was sentenced to 40 years in prison. Now, she was never able to make bail. So from the day of the arrest until the actual conviction, she stayed in jail because she was never able to make the $5 million bond, which is she had to put up, her family or somebody had to put up 10% to actually get her out. So she sat in jail. The first conviction was thrown out because one of the jurors had lied. He had a previous conviction, felony conviction. And in the state of Kentucky, if you have a felony conviction, you're not able to sit on a jury. You get all your civil rights back, which means that you can vote and you can do everything else, own a handgun, do all kinds of stuff, as long as you do all the proper paperwork, but you're not allowed ever to sit on a jury if you're a convicted felon in the state of Kentucky. Well, He lied about it. They found out about it, and the conviction was thrown out. So the state put her on trial again. Now the second time, and that's where it gets weirder again. The second trial is pretty much, going along just the way it is. She has her defense. They're putting up a good, case. That she was a battered woman. They put up some witnesses who, say, look, she has all the signs of, possibly have been a bet that she's going to take the stand in her own defense in the second trial. Her attorney is asking her some questions. They start off with the very first date the two of them had. She starts to tell her version, the one that I told you here in the beginning. She starts to talk, and then all of a sudden, it's like mentally, she just, the wheels stop, and she just starts to go off on a tangent. And her attorney is trying to wheel her back to what she was talking about, but she won't come back. She starts talking about her and Ryan's sex life in lucid details, and about how they liked to have sex, and that Ryan was really into kink, and her attorney can see that this is not where the hell is it even going, but she kept on. It was like she just wanted to tell this story. And according to, not that it needs to be, disproven, but, after the trial, several people who, had been former girlfriends and lovers of Ryan said, no, none of this was true at all. But she went into great, lucid detail about it for some reason, but nobody could figure it out. Her attorney finally said, look, we never stop here, putting it into it. And she, even then, when, the judge dismissed her from the stand, she didn't stop again. It's like she snapped, and then she becomes like somebody else and just starts talking randomly, rambling. Yeah, she made a complete circus of it. So, jury deliberates. They deliberate for about 5 hours, pretty much, I'm guessing, the same as the first one, just enough time to order a pizza and have lunch, and then go back and say, guilty, is charged. And she was found guilty again on all counts. She is not eligible for parole until the year 2032. She does have a couple of appeals that she can file, but with the evidence that is there, I don't see how she's ever going to get anywhere with them, because she basically hung herself with all of her ramblings in the interrogation room that night, and evidence that existed before. Keep that in mind. Before she killed him, she was sending him over 100 messages, text messages a day, and around 20 messages on Facebook, and instant messages and stuff like that. She just would not leave this man alone. Ryan should have known from the very first date that they had that this lady was trouble. Thanks for stopping by. You stay safe out there.